California. And this famed old course at the Mission Hills Country Club has never been in better shape.
Another good one for you here. Temple, the 7th seed in the West, against the number 3 seed, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Michigan having already won tonight by 8 over George Washington to advance to the regional final to take on the winner of this game between Vandy and Temple. Back to the court side, Jim Nantz along with Billy Packer. And Billy, we really have an interesting contrast of styles in this matchup tonight.
I don't think that you could have a better one, Jim. You have a coach that teaches the zone as well as anybody in the country in John Chaney and Temple. And then you have Eddie Fogler with a great passing team and outside perimeter team of Vanderbilt. Something's got to give here.
One of the keys in the game is Aaron McKie, the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, the guard out of Temple. Tell me about him, Billy.
Jim, last week I talked to the Rhode Island players after Glenn Robinson had that 36-point game again, a great explosive game, and Mike Brown said to me, I've played against a guy just as good. I said, who? He said, Aaron McKie. Enough said.
Oh, boy, that says a lot.
You better believe it.
Everyone's been talking all season long about the phenomenal play of Billy McCaffrey at Vanderbilt. The former Duke Blue Devil won a national championship with him back in '91. What about Billy?
A good, solid player at Duke University, but now at Vanderbilt, a great player. Co-MVP of the SEC along with Jamal Mashburn, who's considered one of the most gifted players in the United States. That says enough in that one.
Well, some of us people call us double trouble, but you say double trouble for this game. Take us to the telestrator.
Well, one of the things that Vandy does so well is pass and screen. And here we're going to see a case where Bruce Elder passes the ball. He and Kevin Anglin go down and set a solid screen for none other than Billy McCaffrey coming out. The ball will be reversed back to McCaffrey. And watch what happens as he squares up for his jumper. Nothing any purer than that, Jim.
The common opponent for these two teams, Florida. Lon Kruger, the coach of the Gators, gave us a scouting report for this game tonight.
I'm Lon Kruger, basketball coach, University of Florida. In Temple Vandy, we've got one of the more intriguing matchups in the tournament. Two very well coached, very well drilled teams in systems that are somewhat unique. Temple, of course, the outstanding matchup zone defense, do a great job of covering the floor. Vandy, though, runs a very good motion against the zone and have a lot of people that shoot the ball well from the perimeter. The team that can establish their system early in the ball game will take a big step toward winning.
All right, Lon, thank you. The starting lineups, Jones, Batee, Cunningham, Brunson, and McKie from Temple. A young Temple team, the first man off the bench is a freshman, making it 3 of their top 6 players are freshmen. Elder, Anglin, Lawson, McMahan, and McCaffrey for Vanderbilt, a team that went 28-5 this year. Ed Hightower, Scott Thornley, Edwin Edsall, the officials tonight. Temple 19-12 on the year. Tip control by Vandy.
And Jim, right off the bat, let's see how far out Temple extends the zone. And you can see right there, quickly, Jones comes way out high.
Elder knocks down a 3 to start the game.
Shot by number 5.
Elder has not been particularly effective so far in the NCAA tournament. Only had 5 points against Illinois. And here you see, surprisingly, a little zone defense from Vanderbilt to start it out. Saying yesterday everything they did in practice was man-to-man in concept.
Brunson long on his 3-point try. And Vanderbilt in a hurry.
Nice dish.
The Elder back out. Ooh, McMahan wanted to set up McCaffrey. He was positioned for a 3-point shot.
Look at how far out the zone is extended. Really putting a lot of pressure on the ball and trying to prevent the cross-court pass, which means the center area is going to be wide open. And that's where Vandy will have to create a passing lane, down in the middle. And Elder is taking that spot right now.
Lawson in trouble. McKie has it for Temple.
They showed the zone, now they changed the man-to-man. Just one time down the floor, they showed the zone.
McKie with Anglin on him.
Anglin considered one of the top defensive players Vanderbilt has ever had. Defensive Player of the Year 3 times for him.
Jump shot. Got it. That's Eddie Jones. The last 2 months he has been on fire.
Brunson got a piece. Now, for people that really like to study intricate basketball, watch this Temple zone. It's a matchup zone A lot of pressure on the ball out high.
They make every pass difficult.
Now, normally you think of a zone not putting a lot of pressure on the ball.
McMahan from the corner. That's a three-point bucket.
Three-point shot by Ronnie McMahan.
4 of 5 threes against Illinois. This team, great perimeter shooting club.
McKie turnaround.
Elder kept it alive.
Off Vanderbilt. 6-2 Commodores. .17:45 remaining in the first half. Eddie Jones missing a three-point shot. Petit lowered the shoulder, and he's called for the charge. We saw Eddie Jones shoot the three. He has the only bucket of the game for Temple. Meanwhile, on the other end, Billy, Vanderbilt has knocked down a couple of threes, one by Elder, one by McMahan to lead 6-2.
Jim, no need whatsoever that time to bang on into Anglin. There was a height differential of about 4 inches on the play. Here we see that zone again. A lot of pressure on the ball.
Brunson knocked it out of bounds.
Jimmy, what Temple is doing is they're preventing the ball from being swung from side to side or across the top. What that means is you've got to throw the ball down into the post area some.
Whoa, they're hot from the outside. They are 3 for 3 from three-point land.
Not a bad place to throw it from.
9-2 Vanderbilt.
McCaffrey has great square-up shot when he shoots that jumper. Well, he gets those legs in perfect position.
Eddie Jones missing his three-point shot. Vanderbilt on the break. Good pass to Elder. McCaffrey with the assist.
Great run by Elder. Now there's the problem. You know, Elder actually plays the power forward spot at 6'4". So he's going to be able to outrun his counterpart in almost every play down the court. And now they go to a 1-3-1 zone. Third different defense Vanderbilt showed so far in a half.
Changing defenses.
Yep.
That's 3 different defenses in 6 trips.
Right. Lawson in the center. Nice fill.
Jones driving past Lawson and uses the glass. He has all 4 of Temple's points.
That was a great fill by Jones. He's used to playing against the zone, and that kind of move is what Vanderbilt can do as well. Fill a man down into the middle.
Tightly guarded, too tight. Jones whistled for his first. Eddie Vogler. Many people say the National Coach of the Year. Sports Illustrated, Sporting News, UPI, and CBS.
Yes, sir. Young man with his roots from, actually grew up and played, outstanding high school player in New York, went down and played for Dean Smith and worked with him as an assistant coach for so long. His last game as an assistant, their national championship year, 1982.
Dan Hall, number 41, in for Vanderbilt, and Jason Ivey, number 30 for Temple, checking in, first subs of the game. McMahan, that's way out there. They missed their first three-point shot. In fact, the first shot from the floor, that was a misfire. Vandy 4 for 5.
Jones getting up on the board.
Brunson driving.
Used the
and one.
Changed hands in the air.
Dan Hall hacked him.
See Brunson moving so well. He's got the spin move, got the inside position, and then goes up in the air. McCaffrey thought he had him stopped with one hand and changed it right over on him. Excellent reverse dribble. Pretty good defense by Billy McCaffrey as well, but couldn't stop the shot.
Actually, they called a foul on McCaffrey, not Hall. McCaffrey sits for a moment, replaced by Frank Secker, number 22. And Brunson unable to complete the three-point play.
Then we saw some bad blocking out on missed foul shots in the first game, in which helped Michigan get them off the boards. Vandy well schooled there, just doing a good job not letting that happen. And now there's the matchup change a little bit to a 1-3-1 by Temple.
Elder with Brunson on him, doubled up, whip it around quickly.
Skip pass.
Secker, three-point shot. Pulled down by McKie.
Well, you're talking about a team that can surround a zone with 4 men capable of hitting a 3.
Look at McKie way outside.
Too far.
Too long. That was out in the area where downtown Freddie Brown used to make them.
Right. Hall with a good block out on Petit.
Elder, he made the game's first basket, a three-point shot. Not this time. Tipped out to McKie. 11-6 Vanderbilt, under 15 minutes to go, first half.
You know, kind of interesting. You usually think
Jones, no spin on it. Hall pulls it down.
You usually think, Jim, perimeter shooting has long rebounds, but Vanderbilt has such good outside shooters that they have soft shots off the boards.
Secker threw it away. And a break in the action. Vanderbilt with a blitz early to lead by 9. Now to lead is 5. Active coaches, Billy, and you look at this list. John Chaney, 3rd. As you pointed out, all of these coaches still alive in the tournament except for Jim Boeheim, his team ineligible this year.
Ineligible this year, and of course, that list changed when Jerry Tarkanian left the active roles because he was far and away #1 with that all-time leading record.
You saw Billy McCaffrey back out on that 2-3 zone, checking back into the game.
And again, surrounded now, Jones, McKie, and Brunson looking to get something going. So far in the NCAA tournament, they represent 87% of the scoring of Temple in the tournament.
Temple is not very deep, Billy. They have 3 players that will play almost 40 minutes.
Good defense that time by Hall.
Lawson had position to pull it down.
And basically, Jim, that's a very good word, position, if you're Vanderbilt, because that's how they get rebounds. They get position, they block out well. Good idea by McCaffrey.
But stolen away.
There.
Jason Ivey read it. Jones driving, stuck. Gets it to Ivey. Quickly puts it up for 2. 11-8, Vanderbilt.
Jason Ivey.
McCaffrey back out.
Lawson has taken some threes and almost thought about it there.
But it traveled instead.
Vanderbilt substitute number 5.
Here we see the blocking out I was talking about. Lawson goes up, the transfer from Indiana. Comes down with one-hand rebound. Started a number of games in the 2 years he played at Indiana and then just decided that was not where he wanted to be. And he's done a fine job, obviously.
Bloomington native. McKie. Very sweet.
Jumper, wasn't it?
Talked about Lawson, Billy, when he played in those 2 years at Indiana. His high point game, and he's only topped it once at Vanderbilt, was against Michigan.
Exactly, Michigan.
20 points in the game against the Wolverines. Look at this skip pass. Secker.
2 good-looking jumpers that Secker's had and hadn't got either one of them to fall. Can't get a more wide-open shot than that, but good cross-court passing by Vanderbilt.
And a recent cold streak now for the Commodores. Temple can take the lead. He to Petit.
And there's a block out again. You notice that time Hall blocked out so well he never even got off the floor.
Here he is, Hall, back to Secker. Kicked by Jones, Vanderbilt basketball.
That's like old-time basketball rebounders. You know, the ball not caught above the rim. It's just caught by the fact that a solid block out keeps your opponent from getting his hands on it.
Kevin Anglin comes in for Secker. Here's Anglin. He raised a good question yesterday at the press conference. How long do you have to overachieve before you're not overachieving anymore?
In that particular case, he took one dribble too many. Boy, can Jones float or can he float, huh?
No foul. Gets it right back.
Oh, I love him. What an offensive player.
Basketball,
Eddie Jones. Some say the last 2 months he was the best player in the A-10. Atlantic 10 conference.
Well, McKie was, as you pointed out, voted #1 player. John Chaney on that sideline.
Elder stepped on the sideline, turning it over to Temple.
Chaney, a great player in his day, coming out of the Philadelphia high school ranks, played at Bethune-Cookman, and then was an ace of the Eastern League for many years.
All right, breaking the action under 12 minutes. Temple has taken the lead.
Coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Semifinal game is sponsored by Pontiac and your nearby Pontiac dealers. We are driving excitement. Quaker State, the Big Q, is one tough motor oil. And by O'Doul's, no alcohol, 70 calories, and real beer taste. O'Doul's, what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer.
Welcome back to the Kingdome. We would like to alert all of our stations along the line that our next commercial will be a station break. Jim Nance and Billy Packer, game 2 at the Kingdome. Michigan having advanced tonight to the Elite 8. Temple on a 10-0 run as Vanderbilt has missed its last 5 shots and they've had 4 turnovers in that time period. Brian Milburn has come in for Vanderbilt, number 40.
He's playing the back line in a 1-3-1 zone, Jim. A young man who gets kidded a lot about that hairdo of his around the league in the SEC. Eh?
Brunson.
Boy, that was a weak shot.
We had the angle on that. It never had a chance. McCaffrey to the corner. Elber brings it back out.
Now this small team allows Temple to match up small in their zone. Cunningham out of there, and there's that pressure on the ball in the zone defense.
McCaffrey sets up Lawson for the baseline jumper, and they regain the lead. 13-12 Vanderbilt.
Well, as I said, he's taken 16 threes this year. That's a little bit more comfortable. Bob Knight, his old coach, always says, don't ever get on a place in the court where you can't make a shot. That's perfect range for him. And back to zone back in. Now they show a little 2-3.
McKie from the free throw line, and it rattles it home. Temple has been in the regional final of the East in both 88 and 91, and Vanderbilt has been to 1 regional final. That was 1965 when they lost in the Elite 8 to Michigan. Now trying to get back with a chance to play Michigan on Sunday.
That time Lawson didn't realize that Milburn was wide open down behind him.
Lawson, baseliner from the other side. We got it, Milburn. And for Vanderbilt, that's team foul. Team foul number 2. First against
Vanderbilt
Milburn.
foul on number 40.
They bring in McMahan
That's his first personal. The second
in for
team
England.
foul on the Commodores.
Jimmy, you talked about getting to Final Eights, 1956. The great Hal Lear played in the Final Four, and he won the MVP that year at 32 against Iowa, 48 in the consolation game against SMU. MVP that year over none other than Bill Russell.
How about that? They got back Temple 2 years
58.
later to the Final Four.
Guy Rogers in that particular situation. It's kind of funny. Lear was the MVP, followed 4 years in a row by another guy as MVP who did not play on the winning team. Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, and Jerry West, 3 years in a row were the MVPs on not the winning team.
Backcourt violation against Temple. And Dan Hall in for Lawson. By the way, tomorrow, our coverage starts at 3 o'clock Eastern Time with the Road to the Final Four show. That's out of the studio with Pat O'Brien, Mike Francesa, Digger Phelps, and our guest commentator, Mike Krzyzewski.
Second time tonight we've had a player sit down with a cut. McMahan seems like he is a little bit out of it in this particular game. Doesn't he seem a little unsure of himself compared to the other Vandy players, particularly this one?
Vanderbilt's McCaffrey
Three-point shot by Billy McCaffrey.
nails the three-point shot. You think McMahan's looking around a lot instead of...
Yeah, I think that, you know, he's a positive scorer. He's got a good jump shot. He's been hot of late.
Hit a 3 already in this game,
Look to take it. Look at how far out now Vandy's extended their 1-3-1. Jones and McKie, I think, will drive through this particular defense. Look to penetrate it with the dribble.
Brunson doubled up. Ivy jumper. Really wild. McKie missing inside. And there he is, Billy. McMahan with the rebound.
Yep. Well, they're playing so tough on that ball. That's kind of funny. Indiana plays man-to-man, but many times plays off the ball more than does Temple, who plays tough on the ball, playing the zone.
And they strip it away from McCaffrey. McKie fading away.
Well, he got fouled on the arm in that one.
Elder gets it out quickly. McCaffrey.
Quicker than you
Between
think.
the legs. Jumper good.
Quicker than you think.
McCaffrey with 8. Vanderbilt by 4.
Of course, his old roommate, Bobby Hurley, who had the great runs in the Final Four. McCaffrey had to sit down last year as a red shirt.
As a transfer.
Now it's Hurley sitting down after that brilliant career that he had at Duke.
8 minutes to go in the half.
Half is going by like a blur, isn't it?
It surely is. Jones back to the rim on a 3.
McCaffrey again. Had a sister that played basketball at Georgetown. Of course, his brother, outstanding receiver at Stanford, now for the Giants in the NFL.
And he was asked who's his all-time sports hero. He said, my brother. He's set up now. Oh, yeah, he'll take it.
Tough shot. Short. Wasn't quite ready on that one. Hard to get transition baskets against either one of these teams. They're so well coached. They get back well on defense.
Batee kind of lost it while going up with it. And a foul called against Batee.
Jim, both Cunningham and Batee, the starting inside players for Temple, did not score against Santa Clara. So all their points coming from the perimeter.
Timeout on the floor, and CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA basketball tournament will continue after this word from your local station. Field goal percentage, Vanderbilt over 50%, but they've turned it over 7 times. Temple 0 of 6. 0 of 6 from three-point land, Billy.
Well, not surprising for Vandy to be shooting over 50%. That's what they do on the year, 50%. They're shooting 41% of threes on the year. But the turnover ratio is something they've been pretty good at all year. They plus 92 on the year, and their opponents are minus 154 in turnover assist ratio. So this club is very good with the ball. And obviously, Jim, to have the year that they had, not going to be able to dominate anybody on the boards. They have to be a team that does extremely well in regard to good shot selection and then doing a great job with turnover assist ratio. They're only averaging 1 rebound per game more than their opponent and have a record of 28-5. You don't see that often.
Secker is back in for Vanderbilt. And Anglin, who set down a couple of times, also returning to the floor. Vanderbilt on a recent 7-2 run to take a 4-point lead.
Well, you can see what Eddie Fogler is doing with all of his starters. He's getting a kind of a rotation going now for McCaffrey and Elder sitting down. Now the points are going to have to come, I think, from McMahan. He's going to have to go ahead and get a jumper off. He's over on the wing. There he is.
Skipped it over to him.
Nice job by Temple defense.
Lawson leaning. Rejected. Is this the kind of game you expected it would be, Billy?
Yeah, I think it's a cat-and-mouse basketball game. I think that Vanderbilt has done a pretty good job changing up defenses, not giving Temple the same look each time. So consequently, the great perimeter threesome of Temple hasn't been able to go ahead and get in some kind of sync.
McKie, they're now 0 for 7 from three-point land, and Lawson with the rebound.
I think they'd love to see Vandy stay in a man-to-man so that McKie could get unleashed, but that's not happening. Nice move. You see Vanderbilt trying to attack the zone from behind.
Lost it for a moment. McMahan gets it back.
Lawson's range.
15 on the shot clock. Anglin puts it up. And it's a 3.
Lawson, a good passer, Jim, for a big man. You know, normally you'd say a guy take a bad shot from the wing there. There was nobody under. He held his ground, got the ball out.
They lead by 7. Early they led by 9. Temple came back to take the lead. Now they've pushed it back up to a 7-point advantage.
There's a double team in the corner. Nice job. This Vandy team beat Kentucky. We're talking about the team that's been the most awesome so far in the tournament. Not Kentucky, actually, out of the spot to be. They were #1 in the nation. Held it for less than a week.
Beat them out in the Eastern Division, too. They won the SEC's Eastern Division by a game over the Wildcats.
They have not been able to get the ball down in the middle at all to go in attacking this zone.
Secker open 3.
Third of the night. Each one looked like it had a chance to go.
Under 5 minutes remaining, first half.
Good screen that time by Batee, but a good pickup by Hall.
Rebounded underneath, put up and in by Ivy.
Basket by Jason Ivy.
Ivy's been strong off the bench, 17 points. 17 rebounds, 11 points so far in the tournament.
Only a freshman. Again, 3 freshmen in the top 6. McKie, Cunningham, Ivy for Temple.
Nice job by Anglin to try to beat this zone a little bit with dribble penetration.
Anglin. Rebound out to Ricky Brunson.
You notice how few times, Jim, there's an opportunity to get a fast break basket.
Get back quickly, don't they?
Both teams do a great job on that defensive transition. Excellent.
Jones had it taken away, and Lawson has it for Vanderbilt.
McCaffrey sitting over on the sideline rested. There's the man I think's got to start looking for his shot. And he got it.
He drills it for the 2nd time tonight. 6 points from McMahan.
What that does is really extend the defense, Jim. You get another man shooting from the perimeter. I'm sure Eddie Fogler would like to see a stop on the clock so he could get McCaffrey and Elder back in the ball game. They're sitting on the sidelines.
Stopping the clock will bring on a timeout under the 4-minute mark.
And playing the zone, packing it back in. One team playing tight on the ball, deep. The other team packing their zone in.
Eddie Jones, too strong. And Lawson again had position on fatigue.
You see a little fatigue factor coming in Temple. You know, they've basically been playing those. 3 of the starters been playing the whole way. They're not quite as aggressive coming out on the wing.
Lawson, oh, he had it, and McKie came in from behind. McKie misfiring. McMahan with a rebound.
And that was a fatigue jump shot right there. He just didn't elevate off the floor.
McMahan, can he make it 3 times to the outside? No. Hall comes crashing in and is whistled for the foul.
Came over the back on that one, Jim. Really had a pretty good angle for a rebound.
McCaffrey, Elder, and Milburn will return. Cunningham will come back in for Temple. But a break in the action. Vanderbilt on an 11-4 run to go up 8. Temple supporters looking concerned, even Bill Cosby. And what's been the cause and effect of Vanderbilt's play so far, Billy?
You know, Cosby was a football player at Temple. You know that also is
track star too.
Well, I don't know if he was a star now, Jim. You know, as you get farther, hey, let's say he's a superstar in broadcast.
Right, he's a star, and he competed in track, so that's a track star.
Oh, all right, okay, all right. But he has been a great supporter of Temple athletics. And here you see that zone defense matching up 2-1-2 now.
Jones, boy, there's another example where he can stay suspended in air.
Just glides in the air and still has that ability to get off the soft jumper. McCaffrey going to try to hide a little bit now and get open against his zone.
First half that has flown by, only 6 fouls called, 3 against each team.
Good job by Cunningham with a strip of Lawson. Second time Lawson's been stripped. The first time he had a chance for an easy layup. Now they go back. Still matching up. Actually, they're playing. Now they're man-to-man. You see how this is actually throwing people off. They show the man. They show the zone. Eddie Fogler really changing up defenses.
Ivy. Good jumper.
Nice block.
Blocked away. McKie had it blocked, and McCaffrey goes into the press row.
Which, as we mentioned, Eddie Fogler, longtime assistant of Dean Smith, the man that believes in the matchup defenses. Eddie himself played in 2 Final Fours. There's the block on the inside. Again, I think stamina is going to be a little bit of a measure of this game, Jim.
There he is, 2 Final Fours during his playing days at North Carolina, 68 through 70. And in fact, you tried to recruit him when you were on the staff at Wake Forest.
I sure did. Dad was quite a man, and had a lot of fun with him over the years, and watched Eddie grow not only as a player but also as an outstanding coach. Did the job at Wichita State when he left North Carolina, and certainly doing the job at Vanderbilt.
Served 15 years as Dean Smith assistant. Brunson 3-pointer.
Of course, was on that staff with another guy not having a bad run, the NCAA tournament, Roy Williams.
Temple basketball. 47 seconds to go in the half.
We kidded him yesterday about the outlaw operation he's running with all these transfer students. He has a good sense of humor.
Lawson transfer from Indiana, McCaffrey from Duke, and Bruce Elder
from Davidson.
Yeah, from Davidson, where he led them in scoring as a freshman.
And it just shows that the transfer, which used to be a negative word, is not a negative in intercollegiate athletics anymore. For particularly kids that feel, hey, I've got a spot that I want to play, I have a goal in life, and they moved on. I mean, it's not like Davidson is a bad school, or Duke's a bad school, or Indiana's a bad school. But they all seem to be very happy where they are now.
You can see only 1 second differential.
What do you think? McKie on
shot clock.
Jones and McKie, huh? Jones and McKie. You want him to take this shot if you can get it.
Well, here's McKie surrounded quickly by McCaffrey and Lawson. He still puts it up. Back to Temple. Now on the floor. Nothing. One of the quickest halves of basketball you'll ever see. 24-18 Vanderbilt.
Now that means two things, Jim. Teams well coached, kids executing very well, and officials allowing the game to have a flow.
They played that half in timeouts, television commercial timeouts included. The 20 minutes played in 35 minutes. Vanderbilt leads 24-18. Billy McCaffrey leading the way with 8. The winner will play Michigan on Sunday. And right now, let's send you back to our pal in the studios in New York. Back to you, Pat O'Brien.
All right, James, thank you. Good job. We'll see you at the second half there. Vanderbilt leads Temple 24-18. We'd like to welcome you all.
With Billy Packer, along with the most ardent follower of the Owls, Bill Cosby.
And the star.
And the track star.
Billy, I stood up for you. I apologize. I told you. Well, yeah, but I mean, and it was a high jump nonetheless.
This is the shot put now. And it was the high jump.
That's because you're eating too many of those Philadelphia pretzels.
No, that's not a Philadelphia pretzel, not a salted pretzel.
Well, Jim had salted. I took non-salt.
That'll cause you to lose your hair.
Well, I've already.
So that's what happened.
Me. Oh, it can't hurt me.
That's what happened. What do you think now with Temple down 6 here starting the second half?
I think that number one, we need to hit. If we can go up to 30, 39, 41%, and still cause the number of turnovers we caused, get to them a little quicker on the three-pointers that we didn't believe they would make. We're in on Sunday.
You know, Bill, when you're an announcer, you're not allowed to say we. You know, you have to be like
an announcer. Nobody paying me today. I'm a Philadelphia mustard pretzel.
Okay.
Well, stick with us for a while. The first half, Temple shot only 28%, and that included 0 for 8 from three-point land, and yet still trailing only by 6.
And McKie, Jim, at 2 for 11. A key for them is to get him off early, and there's
Eddie Jones driving the baseline and coming up from the other side to cut it to 4.
Come back with Cunningham and McKie down in low, Jim. Trying to establish a force. They matched up in their zone in the first half, going to a smaller unit. Good hustle by both Jones and Elder.
This is a team that's prepared to win. They are.
You're talking about Temple.
Temple, yes, indeed. When we make those shots, we're playing defense well, and this wonderful cerebral Vanderbilt team, I think little pops in and out in their 1947 Princeton offense. We're doing very well, playing against geniuses.
How often do you stay in touch with Coach John Chaney?
He owes me money. I see him every day.
I guarantee you don't see him at practice with those 5:30 a.m. practices.
No, no. The only time you get up is at 5:30 in the morning is if somebody threw up on you.
Well, they've got to figure out a way to score, and what has helped Vanderbilt more than anything is the changing of the defenses. They've shown man, they've shown 2-3 matchup. Sometimes it's a 1-3-1. Now they're back to the man-to-man. Time for McKie to get the ball and try to make a one-on move. Here he is. Brunson gets it.
Brunson kind of forced it. Jones saved it. Jones with half of the Owls' 20 points.
Jim, I'm really surprised when they get in the man-to-man that they don't give McKie an opportunity. Look at Jones hit another.
That jumper.
Basket by Eddie
That's the lead to 2 now. 24-22 Vanderbilt.
And there's the matchup starting out 1-3-1. Still a lot of pressure on the ball. I really have never seen a zone extend itself that far out and still be effective of stopping things down low.
Elder doubled up, and Jones takes it away.
Defense has really picked up, and you know, Bill, one of the things might have happened at the end of the first half, not using very many substitutes. The guys from Temple might have got a little tired that last 4 or 5 minutes, because their intensity is much better now.
Foul on Elder.
Here we see that first.
We're going to keep an eye on this game in Seattle. Meantime, out in East Rutherford, New Jersey, North Carolina and Arkansas, it's a 1-point game. There's 51 seconds left in the ball game. And Mike Francesa, what's going on with North Carolina? Should have been a little bigger game for them.
They have not been able to shake Arkansas. Arkansas from 3 all day has been very strong, Pat, and they've done a very good job of staying in the game when it looked like Carolina was going to deliver that knockout blow.
We'll get you back to that. Let's go back to Seattle, Temple, and Vanderbilt, and Jim Nance and Billy Packard. 24-24.
Jim, you pointed out earlier how hot he has been since the end of February on through March, averaging over 20 points a game. Been brilliant.
McMahan, 3-point shot, gives Vanderbilt the lead at 27-24.
We look for him to be looking for his shot in the first half a little more. Now Vanderbilt goes to a 1-3-1 zone. Almost every time down the floor, Temple gets a different look.
Carolina leading Arkansas by 1 point with 51 seconds to go in that game. And we'll be showing you that shortly. Jones. McKie follows up.
That's the first points on the inside, and something that McKie and Cunningham, you would think, could get some putbacks, Bill. They've got the height advantage.
Well, don't forget, Cunningham's very, very young. So what he's looking at, he's probably seeing for the first time in his life.
Angling, missing, and Brunson flips it into the middle. McKie surrounded by 3. They call him for traveling.
Wow.
Traveling.
A scarcity of fouls in this game. Only 7 have been called so far, Billy.
John Chaney buries his head. John Chaney, one of the great players from Philadelphia high school basketball. Bill, it's about your time, huh?
No, John's about 75
no.
years old. Well, he looks it.
Loss of ball, tipped by Jones, stolen by McKie.
Good hit ahead, nice 2-on-1.
And Jones slams Temple in front, 28-27.
Jim, what made that, of course, was the immediate hit ahead by Jones to turn that defensive man's head around. Perfect display of how to handle a 2-on-1 break. And we talked in the first half how few times teams were able to get a break.
Traveling.
Going to politely jump in here, guys. Great games going on both sides of the country. 51 ticks on the clock out in the Meadowlands. Let's go down to Vern Lundquist and Clark Kellogg. It's a 1-point game. North Carolina up on top. Vern Lundquist.
Backdoor Williams. Donald Williams hits the backdoor shot. 77-74 North Carolina. 33 seconds remaining. Arkansas with only 1 timeout left. Robert Shepard, the senior from Chicago.
Well, he leaves his feet here and gets caught in the air. Lynch, by being 6'8", really able to cover up any passing lane. Now the Hogs have to foul.
Donald Williams with the back door made the layup. Then Lynch, who's had a brilliant game with the defensive job on Shepard. And 21.5 seconds remaining with Carolina on top.
2 now, huh? 2.
Williams had, excuse me, Clark.
Another example of how size has really paid dividends for North Carolina.
Salvadori checks in, another of the 7-footers, and Donald Williams, who has scored the last 6 points, is on the line. George Lynch, who's playing with 4 fouls, checks out and sits down. Corey Beck checks out for the Razorbacks, and Williams at the line. Sophomore from Garner, North Carolina. Take a look at the backdoor play.
Look at the spacing. Beck committed to the pass out to the wing, and then Donald Williams got the nice speed. I think that was Lynch who made the pass, was it not?
Yes. No good. Williams shakes it down, or Reese does. Foul on McDaniel, and Williams will shoot again. McDaniel picks up his 4th foul. Winner of this one takes on Cincinnati on Sunday afternoon. We've got doubleheader action for you tomorrow. First game, Florida State and Kentucky. That's from Charlotte. Second game, Kansas and Indiana from St. Louis. Temple leads Vanderbilt early second half. And as soon as this one's over, we're going to take our entire audience back to Seattle for the conclusion of that ball game. Williams gets them both. Dean Smith says, for heaven's sakes, no foul, no foul.
Play good, D. Make them use a little clock.
Williams, 22 points. Nope. Montross. Carolina's going to advance. Salvadori to Montross. Tar Heels win.
All right, and so North Carolina advances in the tournament. They'll play Cincinnati over the weekend. Let's go back out to Seattle. Temple and Vanderbilt, a 1-point game. Here's Jim Nance.
Well, rebound by Milburn. No scoring while you were away. 28-27. Temple leads 10-3 in the second half. Vanderbilt all missing the jumper.
Very few putbacks, Jim, on either end of the floor. Shot goes up. The other team does a good job blocking out. Temple doing a great job blocking out in their zone defense. Something that is much more difficult to do than the man-to-man.
McKie three-pointer. Wow. Vandy trails by 4.
3-point shot for Ronnie McMahan.
Vanderbilt led 24-18 at halftime, but Temple on fire in the second half, and McCaffrey's shot goes over the backboard.
Jim, what happened to Billy McCaffrey is he just dribbled that ball into the zone and picked up 3 defenders on his way. Tried to make the double clutch shot. No way.
33.
And we can see the difference in the shooting percentages for Temple. And Temple decided to go big to start the second half, bringing Cunningham back in with McKie. And it's really paid off for John Chaney's club.
Temple outscoring Vandy 13-3 in this half. McKie jumper.
Jim, I don't think I've ever seen a pure jump shooting display and the way that the form of the shot McCaffrey and McKie are putting on. And that probably could go well for Jones as well.
Low pass around the ankle, saved by Vanderbilt. The winner gets Michigan on Sunday.
Double teaming, and it seems like in the zone, they're getting double teams out front.
McCaffrey, 2-point shot. Tip, comes back out. McCaffrey guns it, gets the soft roll.
Quick shooter to get the ball in his hands in a position to shoot and go up in the same motion.
Temple's 6-point lead, now down to 4.
There you see Vandy again, change into a 1-3-1 zone. McKie is soaking wet. That shirt of his has got to weigh a couple of pounds more than it did when he started this game.
Brunson driving baseline. Draws the foul on Lawson. Michigan tonight advanced to the Final 8 with a 72-64 victory over George Washington. Which of these two teams you think would give the Wolverines a tougher game?
Boy, it's hard to say. I think that Temple, Jim, by having some size on the inside, at least to be able to forestall Michigan's power with Cunningham and Battie, may have the advantage, and particularly with their zone. But It's a tough call. These two teams could probably play 100 games a year and be about 50-50.
A paucity of fouls called in this game. As a result, this will only be the third free throw of the game. Can you believe it? Temple 35-29.
Here they are again in this zone, and look at how far they have extended the zone out on the ball, taken away the opportunities. There's Jones again, beating Anglin all the way out. We're talking about they're 35 feet from the basket in a zone defense. And it's not a half-court trap, it's solid zone.
Hall jumper from 15.
Basket by Dan Hall.
Dan Hall, whose father played at Vanderbilt back in the 60s. McKie missing his shot, but the follow-up by Petit.
And he hurt his ankle, Jim, coming down. Look at him running it off. For a freshman.
And stolen by Brunson. He read it all the way.
What?
Oh, Hall swats it away.
What a block. Petit is really hurt. His ankle's bothering him. He's going to have to sit.
This is a game timeout, television timeout at 37-31.
Jim, that timeout helped Petit get back in. Let's see if he has any problem running up and down the floor. John Chaney is a tough type coach, and he's going to make him just run that ankle injury off.
Jones.
Beautiful shooting.
The basketball, Eddie Jones.
8-point advantage for Temple. Vanderbilt led at one time by 9 in the first half.
Well, what Temple?
Steal by Eddie Jones.
Jim, what Temple has done is extended their defense, this zone defense, so far out that McCaffrey particularly and Elder and Anglin are not able to get anything going in regard to a three-point shot. Now what they've got to do is to try to beat this pressure out front either with some dribble penetration or put somebody on the foul line and hit him there directly.
Three-point shot, McCaffrey. And it's all Temple in the second half to this point.
I'll tell you another thing about Temple. They got their second win.
Look at Brunson. Penetrate and score. 43-31, Temple.
They were dragging at the end of the first half, even as quickly as that first half went by, but they certainly have picked it up now. Those two donuts and those 5:30 a.m., 6:30 practices seem to be coming through for them. Nice pass back.
McCaffrey, three-point shot off the mark.
But everything is rushed now in the three-point shots as opposed to the first half where they were doing a lot of good skip passing.
Game summary to this point. Look at the field goal percentage in this half, and I'll tell you another one. 25-7. Temple has outscored them in the second half. Remember, they scored only 18 in the entire first half. They've already got 25 in the first 9 minutes of the second half.
You know, Jim, with Virginia dropping out of the tournament tonight in the men's division, only Virginia and Vandy were left in both the men's and the women's. Now, it looks like the Vandy men may have some problems. The Vandy women are still moving forward.
They're the #1 seed in the Midwest, and will play for the right to go to the Final Four tomorrow in Nacogdoches, Texas.
And maybe
Vandy women's team.
Maybe the men could use Heidi Gillingham, her 6'10" height. They just are having problems on the boards.
McMahan.
Got it. First time they've been able to skip past it over.
McMahan has 12. Midway through the second half. Brunson wide open. Petit swatted away by McMahan from behind.
He had to gather himself to put that shot up. Gave just enough time for McMahan to come from the weak side.
Oh! Lawson. And Vanderbilt now would like to establish its own run.
They just won't let you pass the ball.
Stripped it out of the hands. Stripped it out of the hands of McMahan. Jones down quickly.
Basket by Eddie Jones.
Jim, is that Temple will not allow Vanderbilt to throw the ball across the court. They're cutting that pass off. They're going to have to get some movement in behind McKie
Lawson. Foul outside against Temple. Tomorrow, road to the Final Four will start your day at 3 o'clock. Then the Southeast Final, Florida State, Kentucky from Charlotte, followed by Kansas, Indiana, Midwest Final. That coming from St. Louis. You'll have Dick Stockton and Al McGuire early, James Brown, Bill Raftery late. From the studio, Pat O'Brien, Mike Francesa, Digger Phelps, and guest analyst Mike Krzyzewski. Secker is in for Vanderbilt.
And you see that Eddie Fogler is sticking with his substitution pattern. McCaffrey's sitting down even though they're down by 11.
Brunson for reaching in, his first. Only the second of the second half against Temple. Billy so far in turnovers, turnover department, 16 to 5. Vanderbilt has turned it over 16 times.
And we talked about that earlier tonight in regard to the fact that Vanderbilt had such a big margin between turnover and assist ratio in their opponents.
Elder. Nice floating move to cut the lead to 9.
That's what I'm talking about. They're going to have to send some cutters through, get in behind that defense instead of trying to swing the ball across the top against McKie.
21 more attempts, and part of that has to do, of course, with the turnovers. Also the fact they've so far grabbed 12 offensive rebounds as Temple versus only 1 offensive board for Vandy.
Well, you knew that as Vandy moved along in this tournament, that would be a problem with him. Power rebound.
But T too strong. Elder with the rebound. 7:45 remaining. Temple leads 45-36.
Lawson hustling down court extremely well. Carrying 260 pounds with him.
Elder almost had it taken away. Secker from the corner.
They've got to feel.
Brunson bumped into Elder.
Vanderbilt has got to feel like there are 6 men on defense for Temple right now, the way they're playing this zone, and that is because they can't get anything going on the foul line.
So a break in the action under 8 minutes. 7:25 remaining. The winner will face Michigan. Jim Nance, Billy Packer from the Kingdome, where they've set a West Regional attendance record, 24,000 on hand at the Kingdome. Vanderbilt trails by 9 with 7:20 remaining.
They just didn't allow Anglin to pass that ball back to McCaffrey, where he would be in position to take his jumper. He had to extend way beyond the range.
McMahan, 3-point shot. Pulled down.
Bear hug.
Batee, and got the foul on Lawson.
Jim, that 3 didn't go by McMahan, but Vanderbilt has made a 3-point shot in every game they've played since the rule was put into effect back in 1986-87 season. Streaking now, what, a 225 game, something like that.
They're 7 out of 16 tonight. Three-point land.
And normally, when a team gets that kind of 3-point production against Temple, they're able to win. That was the case for UAB this year, Cincinnati, and of course Wake Forest that had the blistering game in that Sunday afternoon against Temple, putting them away. First time John Chaney's ever had a team score 100 points against him in his coaching career.
Jones with 2 men on him. Boy, is he hot. He has 16 in this half versus only 12 for the whole Vanderbilt team.
Gets back down on court and knocked that pass away. The thing that he does so well is he gets at the peak of his jump and then just gets that shot off. The defenders are on their way down. He's still shooting.
Bruce Elder in for the Commodores. For Temple, that 106-69 trouncing at home to Wake Forest, they said it embarrassed them and it turned their season around. They were 10-10 at one point.
Right.
Lawson, baseliner, good rotation on a 2. Brings it back down to a single-digit lead, 47-38 Temple.
Now Eddie Fogler's asking his team to pick up higher. And that's going to mean it's going to be tough to match up with Brunson, McKie, and of course Jones, who has been phenomenal tonight with his gliding moves. There's a situation, McKie. It's going to be tough to handle him out there.
That's a 2 for McKie, Aaron McKie. Their leading scorer on the season, 21 points a game, the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year. A young man who grew up only a matter of blocks away from the Temple University campus. In the lane, Elder, and 1.
That has been there all night. The first time that they've attacked right onto the foul line area. Stop trying to swing the ball out front. Here's the hole we're talking about. Boom, right to the foul line area. Elder puts it up. This young man picked as the #1 student athlete in America.
By the COSIDA organization, the national, really the National Organization for Sports Information Directors. The foul, by the way, on Brunson is his 3rd. They pick up full court, Billy.
Elder, yes they do. Elder already has graduated from college. He's getting his MBA now.
And will have his MBA in May.
Right. Trying to press. It's going to be tough to press this club with 3 great players that can penetrate.
Little layup missed, but Petit on the follow.
Already Fogler realizing with this type of differential, down 10, he's got to do something to turn that ball over. But I don't know how they can match up with McKie, with Jones and Brunson.
McKie on the bump, his 2nd, and the 5th team foul against the Owls in this half.
Of course, we remember when Temple advanced so well in the great game Mark Macon had against North Carolina a few years ago, the 31-point game.
That was 2 years ago this weekend. East Final. Elder lost control of it. No whistle.
Well, he kind of tripped over his own feet a little bit. No need for the foul, and now John Chaney says, nope, I've got a 10-point lead with 5 minutes to go. I'm going to milk something here.
So a timeout called by Temple with the 10-point lead. Well, we had Bill Cosby with us earlier, and he assured us Temple would come back in the second half and win. And is he leaving already, Billy, up 10?
I don't know. That may be the Temple Red Auerbach cigar. That's, you know, you leave when you're up 10. I think it's a little early, because I think what we're going to see Eddie Fogler do is to pull out all stops and try to press some. And it's either going to work that he can turn it over some against Temple, or it'll backfire on him. Temple gets something easy.
He gets out of the jam and they set up Petit underneath.
Something easy. But you've got to do it. You know, you're down 10. You have to hope you turn something over on the defensive end.
McMahan, 3-point shot.
And the other thing, Jim, although Eddie Fogler has substituted Freely to keep his guys as fresh as possible, it will be very difficult chasing Temple and then having anything left in the offensive end for McCaffrey, Elder. John Chaney is livid over there with Brunson saying, get yourself some angle for the pass.
Foul called against McCaffrey.
Billy McCaffrey, his 2nd personal. A 5th team foul on the
Vanderbilt has all 3 of its timeouts remaining and the arrow in its favor. Still 2 fouls away from the 1-and-1 on each side. Ivy almost lost it. And stolen by Elder.
Wanted.
And he will go unchallenged to cut it to 7.
This is a gamble, but he had to go for it.
53-46.
See if they try to isolate McKie. Good double team by Elder, and that took away an opportunity for McKie to isolate on McMahan. What a split.
Petit brings it out high. 20 on the shot clock.
Not getting very good spacing against this.
Wide open, Jones.
How often have we seen him tonight glide up above the defender and just hang there?
He has 18 in the second half, 26 for the night.
Too early to start thinking 3, but you got to get some shots up. McCaffrey really forcing, really struggling.
Really surprised by that force. He's made now 1 of his last 8 attempts from the floor.
And that's because of the great defense out front by McKie. this long. 5 minutes worth of chasing.
McKie.
Basket by Aaron McKie.
Starfin, who was the point guard a couple of years ago, went to the East Regional Final. McCaffrey hits the three, and a timeout called by Vanderbilt. They still have 2 more in their pocket. 57-49, 2:27 to go. It's not over yet. Wondering where Bill Cosby got off to. Look behind the stands. Some people are leaving. There's a mat in the area where some of the cheerleaders can warm up and practice, and he's been over there helping a few of the toddlers perform some tumbling acts.
He just had that young the little fella there, and he just flipped him on over.
In fact,
here he is. Yeah, we get the replay. Here's the flip of the day.
All right.
There's a proud mama saying, I've got my little child's picture taken with Mr. Cosby.
57-49. Temple with 2:27 remaining. And a reach in on Secker. How about strategy the last 2:26 for each team, Billy?
Well, Jim, obviously Eddie Fogler realized when he was down 10 and had about right under 5 minutes to go that he had to go ahead and try to create something with his defense. He decided to pick up full court. So far, because of Jones and Brunson and McKie, particularly McKie and Jones finishing off, it was very difficult to stop him from scoring. And here's McKie getting
got it across with about a second to spare.
Good touch pass by Jones.
Oh, they call it a block against Vanderbilt's Dan Hall.
That was a great touch pass on the inside.
Score the basket also.
Ivy goes in. Young man who we talked about earlier, who's had an excellent NCAA tournament off the bench. But what made that play was the touch pass. So often when teams double team and trap, guys try to hold the ball instead of passing to the next man that's open immediately.
4 free throws have been shot in this game. 1 by Vanderbilt.
So that's got to be some kind of a record for the West Regional. And you know, Johnny O'Brien of Seattle holds the record of made free throws in the Western Regional. 19. That was 19 by one guy.
McMahan's already hit 5, now 6 from three-point land for 18 points. And a timeout by Vanderbilt. Under 2 minutes to go. Temple has the lead and a 7-point lead. Billy, really, what's been the difference in this half?
Obviously, field goal shooting percentage. Shot 28% for the first half, 66 here in the second, Jim. Doing a great job.
And a timeout forced.
Nice defense. Of course, that's something Eddie Fogler has been wanting to do. He'd like it even more to have the ball turned over one time.
That leaves the Owls with only 1 timeout. The winner gets Michigan on Sunday. You through the brackets. Timeout remaining.
And now, if you're Vanderbilt, you're looking for a turnover because it becomes a game of mathematics. They're down 7. They need 3 possessions. So they've got to get, if they're going to get back into this game, they've got to get a situation where they turn it over and score without putting Temple on that foul line. And one of the things I noticed in the press the last time is that Temple can get a long pass down into the corner after they get the ball in bounds, because Vandy's playing all 5 of their players up in the front court on defense. John Chaney looking it over with those steely eyes of his. See, they can go long.
They break it easily. McKie in the front court, and he is fouled by McMahan. It'll be a 1-and-1 situation for McKie. The largest lead in this game for Temple, 12, 53-41. So a 12-point lead. It's been reduced to 7.
Vanderbilt.
By the way, if Temple does in fact win this game and face Michigan on Sunday, they met last year in the tournament in the first round, and Michigan won a first-round game 73-66. Temple was an 11 seed in the Southeast. Michigan was a 6.
Temple was down 14 in the first half of that game. Came back to get the game 59-57. And then Jalen Rose and company got hot.
Big miss on the front end of the 1-on-1. McCaffrey with a 3, and they got it down to 4.
They need it.
Oh, they've changed it now to a 2-point shot.
And Coach Vogler letting the referee know he was all over the call because he had a good angle at it too. Good too. We'll see it. Swing the ball, get a little solid screen. McCaffrey was behind the line, and then you see that the right foot extended up right on the line. Good call.
Vanderbilt has used its last timeout. They're within 5.
Vanderbilt not guard the man taking the ball out of bounds. I think it'd be a good strategy to step a man out of bounds and go up the other side.
Vandy on a 13
trying to foul. They're trying to foul.
13-6 spurt.
They're trying to foul and can't get one called.
13-6 spurt to cut it to 5. Still in the 1-and-1.
It took them 17 seconds thereabouts to get a foul called. And everybody trying to go ahead and commit one.
Vanderbilt foul on number 41, Dan Hall.
Send Brunson to the line for a 1-and-1.
The 19th foul on
Tough freshman year for this kid who's headed to the line. Almost transferred to Boston College. Now will shoot a 1-and-1.
Only a 64% free throw shooting. That's the second front end of a 1-on-1 that didn't go.
3 would bring him within 2.
Are we talking about man-to-man being played by Temple? How about this?
McCaffrey gives it up to Lawson at the last minute.
Man-to-man, McKie on McCaffrey. Oh, and the last thing you want to do if your Temple is commit a foul.
That's the 6th team foul against the Owls, so not in the shooting situation. 59.4 seconds remaining. No timeouts for the Commodores.
And what is being hollered from the sidelines by John Chaney is no foul. Stay away from it. Let's see if they stay man-to-man. Yes, they did. Man-to-man, even in the out-of-bounds situation.
Vanderbilt knowing the importance of a good shot on this possession. And McMahan cuts it to a 2-point game. 59-57.
Now we know why Bill Cosby went behind the bench, huh? Almost a walk by McKie. He's in trouble. And that's who they wanted to foul, too. Put the freshman on the line. Battie only a 55% free throw shooter.
Number 33, Chris Lawson.
A 12-point lead, 53-41. Now trimmed to 2. They've reached the double bonus. 10 team fouls against Vanderbilt. So Battie will shoot 2. Under 40 seconds remaining. Just under.
Jim, here's a young man who was not recruited, but recruited his coach.
He called up Chaney and said, hey, coach, when you coming down here to pick me up? When they went down to sign him, he'd already made up all of these Temple hats, decorated all over his bedroom. Derek Battie, freshman from Dallas, Texas.
55% free throw shooter, drains 2.
4-point lead now.
They just need a 2 here. They don't need a 3.
McCaffrey up high, and he got it to go.
No timeouts left, remember, Jim. They got a foul right away.
Now called on Lawson, so McKie will have 2 shots at the other end with 29.3 remaining.
You know, McCaffrey is funny in this respect. He not only is a great pure shooter, he's also a good scorer. And there is a difference sometimes. You know, sometimes guys can score and don't have good pure shots. Other times, a good pure shooter doesn't have the ability to go ahead and get himself open to score. McCaffrey's got both of those.
Here's a pure shooter at the line for the Owls.
2 shots.
80% on the season. Missed one already tonight on the front end of a 1-and-1. This one's so important. You could, again, make it a 2-possession game.
And that's right, Jim. And again, the Vanderbilt kids have got to be thinking, in either case now, you can get a 2 as well as a 3.
Oh, they only got 1 out of 2. 3-point lead, a 3 would tie it.
After trying to get off his own shot, it's not there.
McMahan wants it for the tie. McKie on the rebound, and he's fouled with 14 seconds to go.
Well, they've got some guys to surround it.
How about the comeback, Billy? You really weren't sure whether Vanderbilt would be able to sustain a comeback with the full court pressure, and they've done it.
Exactly, and the reason for it is, and it was a calculated gamble that Eddie Fogler had to take at the 5-minute mark to say, hey, we're not going to win this game by staying back and playing a half-court defense. Let's go after him, and it really paid off.
McKie with 2 shots. He has 10 points on the night, all in this half.
Oh, how about that? 3 in a row from a 55% free throw shooter.
Killer for Vanderbilt is they can't stop it if they score. They have no timeouts.
There's actually only for them 9 seconds on the clock.
And Anglin ball he slipped. And for the showtime, Brunson gets it to drop. Temple will play Michigan on Sunday for the right to go to New Orleans.
Kevin Anglin lost his footing out front. Bill pretended like he was there the whole time.
Vanderbilt foul on number 14, Billy McCaffrey, his 3rd.
And Jim, as you pointed out, they're really only 2.3 seconds on the clock because Vandy cannot call a timeout, so there's no way they can win this game now.
They had a shot to tie it in the closing seconds. McCaffrey, he'll be back one more year at Vanderbilt. It's been a big season for the Commodores, but it comes to a close in Seattle. Temple, the 7th seed in the West, is 1 game away from New Orleans. They have reached a regional final for the 3rd time in the last 6 years. They came up short in '88 and '91. And they'll face Michigan on Sunday. What a second half by Eddie Jones. Michigan and Temple. That'll be the final battle for the final spot, that is, the last of the regional finals, Sunday afternoon on CBS. And the Chevrolet players of the game are Eddie Jones of Temple and Ronnie McMahan from Vanderbilt. 67-59. Temple advances. For Billy Packer, Jim Nance saying so long from the Kingdome. Let's go back to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Jim, thanks.